everybody, it's Dr. Joe and B. Remy. Isn't she the bee's knees? Or in this case today, the bee's ankles. Today I'm going to show you 7 ways to treat an ankle sprain. So let's get started. Disclaimer alert, disclaimer alert. So these treatments are for an ankle sprain that's early on. So when you just want to start getting some movement, but nothing too strenuous quite yet. You're just trying to get that movement to help get some of that swelling out of there and that irritation out of there. So one of the first ways to start is a really great thing to do is stretching out your calves, because if you've got an ankle injury or a sprain, a lot of times your calves will tighten up. So an easy way to stretch the calves, and you can stretch your calves a whole bunch of different ways, is just using a strap to stretch it. I like putting a little roll underneath my ankle right there, because then I have movement in that heel. You don't have to, but I think you'll just get a better stretch, better movement when you do that. So, or you can just prop it off the edge of a couch or a bed or off of a table if you want to, just so you have that movement in there. So take something like a stretch strap or a dog leash, but lots of times if it has a loop, it works the best. You want to put it around the ball of your foot. You don't want it to be high up on your toes because it's probably going to slip off, and you don't want it to be low down by your arch because then you're not going to get a really good stretch. So you want to completely relax your foot. You're doing all the stretching or the movement with the strap that you have. So I'm just going to pull and get that stretch. So right now I'm feeling a stretch underneath where the calf muscles are. So depending on your sprain, depending on how much irritation you have in there, you might not be able to pull very hard, but with a stretch, you don't want it to be painful, you want it to be comfortable, so just get that nice tension feeling but no pain while you're doing the stretch. You want to hold that stretch for 30 seconds, relax, and then do that a total of 3 times. So you can do the stretches several times throughout the day as long as it's not irritating it. So then the next one that you're going to do is just what you would call ankle circles. So again, having it where your heel is not touching the floor or touching something is best, because then you're going to have more movement in your ankle. If I just had it on the floor, I can still do it, but it's just a little bit harder to get that motion in there. So the ankle circles are just exactly how they sound. You're just going to try and make a circle at your ankle. But it's not your whole leg. You're not moving like this. The leg part should be staying still, and you should really try and get that movement at that ankle, because what you're doing is with the sprain, you're trying to keep that movement so it doesn't scar up and tighten up, but you're not trying to do a lot of movement where you're just going to irritate it more. So you have to kind of find that happy middle ground. But movement just at the ankle. So you're making, I would say, 10 circles one way and then reverse it and do 10 circles the other way. So same kind of thing, you can do 10, you can do 2 sets of 10 of each, but you can do this several times throughout the day as long as you feel like it's not irritating it even more. So you just have to, it depends on what grade your sprain is. It's a little bit different for everybody. So then the next one is just using something like an ankle wrap. And ankle wraps are really great because not only does it give it a little bit of a support, but it also gives you some compression. So if you have some swelling in there, it helps work it out. So I'm going to use the ankle wrap from Brace Ability, and this is their neoprene ankle wrap. And it's really nice because, again, it's not a brace per se. It's not going to stabilize your ankle, but it's enough just to give compression in there. And so all wraps, or sometimes they are called braces, are a little bit different, but most of the time it wraps around your ankle and then you have 2 straps that kind of cross, and so that's usually the way most of them work. They've got a little opening for your heel, which is nice because you can just kind of put your heel there and get your foot flat on the ground. Now generally if you're sitting, that's a little bit better because you want to have your ankle kind of in that neutral position if you can get it there. I'm just, since I'm on the floor, going to show you this way, but you'd usually start the wrap at the bottom first so you can get that nice and stabilized. And so then if you wanted to put your heel up like that, you can, again, to get it in that neutral position so it's not sitting down like this. It's nice and up. And then you're going to come and bring the part up around your ankle. So you want it to be pretty firm, but you want to be able to easily slide 2 fingers underneath because you don't want it to be so tight that you're cutting off all circulation, but you want it to be pretty firm so then you're getting that compression you need to get that swelling out of there. And a lot of times that compression just feels really nice. It's just like a hug. I usually like to do the inside strap first because that just helps hold up the arch, and you're going to cross it over. So you're making that cross pattern, and then you're going to take the other one and cross it the other way. So then it gives you that a little bit of a support right there through the ankle. So again, it's not necessarily a brace. It's not stopping the movement. You don't really want to stop the movement unless you've gone to your doctor and they want you in something that's actually stopping it, because movement is going to help with a sprain. You don't want to completely not move it unless you've got a really big sprain like a grade 3 or something and your doctor has told you not to mobilize it at all. But see, again, this works really well because it gives you that support that you need, but then it also just kind of helps with that compression to get that swelling out of there. So if you're interested in purchasing the wrap or anything else from Braceability, make sure and click on the link up there. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off to do the rest of my stuff. A lot of times people do ask, should I wear the wrap or should I wear the brace while I'm doing the exercises? I personally, if you're doing therapy type exercises, I would say no. If it's not increasing the pain while you're doing it, you want your muscles to really try and do the work. You're wearing that wrap, maybe if you're doing something a little more high level, maybe trying to bike or run or something like that. That's when you have the wrap on there, or just in general to get that swelling out of there. But if you're doing your therapeutic exercises, if you can, I would do it without them. So the next one is just an ankle pump. So it's kind of just like it sounds. So you're pushing down as far as you can and then coming up as far as you can. So same thing, I like to have something underneath just so I have that movement. Ankle pumps are great. You can do them with your foot out in front of you. You can do them lying down. You can even do them sitting in a chair, which is nice because if you're at work or something and you're sitting or you're standing, a lot of times that swelling just follows gravity and it hangs out by the ankle. But an ankle pump works really nicely to make your calf muscle almost like a natural pump. That's why I call it ankle pumps, to pump that irritation, that fluid, that swelling back out into your body so it gets out of your system and it doesn't just pull up at your ankle. So generally you can do 10 reps, 2 sets of 10, but you can really do these all throughout the day. Again, if it's not irritating it, then you can do it several times throughout the day. You don't just have to go, oh, I'm just doing 1 or 2 times a day. So then the next one is an ankle eversion and inversion movement. And a lot of times if you have this ankle sprain, it's on the outside or the inside. So this one might be a little bit more uncomfortable. So again, just work in your pain-free motion. It's just like the circles where you want your leg to stay still. You want all the movement to be at your ankle. So I'm just going to turn it out and then come back in. So sometimes people call these windshield wipers, where you're just kind of sweeping back and forth like a windshield wiper, but we call it inversion going this way and eversion going that way, or you can say windshield wipers. But you're not doing this, the whole leg's not moving. You're really trying to get that movement mostly at the ankle, again, to keep it from scarring up, to start getting some movement in there, getting that swelling and irritation out of there. So then the next one is just really kind of, I'm gonna switch to this side so you can see what I'm doing. So this one would be my ankle sprain now, is just to kind of stretch out the bottom of the foot. A lot of times when you have an ankle sprain, everything gets tightened up here because you're not moving your ankle how you're supposed to. So sometimes like plantar fasciitis tries to creep in a little bit. So just taking your toes and stretching them up like this, so you're kind of doing this movement with your hands, and then you can just kind of pull at your heel too, so you're kind of pulling up into that dorsiflexion motion with your toes to help stretch out the bottom of your foot. Because again, if you're getting swelling and irritation at your ankle, the whole foot's going to be involved. So you really want to kind of stretch this whole area out as well. And so again, it's nice to kind of you can do a full 30-second hold, stretching it out, or if that's a little bit too much, just do a 10 to 15. So if you're doing 10 to 15 seconds, do it about 5 times, kind of getting it stretched out, moving the whole thing. But if you're doing that full 30-second hold, you can just do that 3 times, several times throughout the day. And then once you really kind of have everything stretched out, if you want to do some really gentle strengthening, maybe with like a resistive band, you can. Be very careful about this depending on, again, how recent your sprain is, what grade your sprain is. You really probably want to talk to your doctor or physical therapist first to progress how you should, because if you go and start doing too much, you're just going to make it worse. So I like the resistive bands, putting a little bit of a loop on it just to kind of help get the movement. Make sure you know your colors. Different colors are different resistances. For this particular one, this is kind of the second one up, but you always want to start with the lightest one. So just make sure you're checking whatever kind of brand of a band that you have. So again, you want to put it around the ball of your foot, because if it's up on your toes, it might come back and smack you. And if it's down at your arch, you're really not going to get quite as much. If you don't have shoes on, sometimes I do like to kind of spread the band out just so it doesn't slide as much. And so all you're going to do, this is kind of like the ankle pump, except now you have the resistance. So now you're just going to push down and see how it rolled just a little bit. So sometimes if you've just got your socks on, you might have to, put it a little bit above the ball of your foot as well. So just kind of check it out. And if you need to do this with your shoes on, you can do it with your shoes on as well. But just pushing down. But the key is when you come back up, don't just let it bounce back up. You want to control the band. Don't let the band control you. But try and go slow and controlled. So if your foot's doing like this when you come up, if it's wiggling, you probably have too much resistance. So either don't put as much tension on there, or just try and do them again, the ankle pumps without the resistive band. Or if you're higher up, make sure then you go down to a less resistive band. So again, you can kind of start off with, 10. 10's a good number to start with. But if you're getting to 5 and then it starts doing this, don't try and push through it, because that means those muscles are fatigued and you don't want to over fatigue them. So there you have it. Those are my 7 ways to treat an ankle sprain. Isn't that good, Miss Bees? And if you'd like to help support my channel, make sure and click on the link up there. Oh, I know! And don't forget to subscribe by clicking down there. And remember, be safe, have fun, and I hope you feel better soon.